23rd of August. No one can forget this date. How was your feeling?
I was relaxed at this moment. I know it's going to happen because I knew prior to 120 minutes itself it's going to land.
That's the most savage answer. In Pakistan, Suparco started 1961. Today, there's no match.
Infrastructure, technology, knowledge, etc. are important. But more than that, it is an inspiration element.
India is inspiring everyone globally. They are not able to do it.
No, it's not proper to say they are inefficient.
It is the power of Nari Shakti. What's your take on this?
They have a certain ability to concentrate much better than men.
Women are better multitaskers.
They are better in some areas.
There are a few websites online claiming to sell the land on the moon.
It's not possible. I can also give a certificate to you. Will you take it?
I would love to take it. Are there aliens or not?
Okay. I will say yes, they are as brilliant as you, intelligent as you. They are developed to a level. I am very sure about they are there. Human beings will start traveling to moon and Mars. Space tourism will come up. Going to Mars and settling a colony could be a possibility. चलिए शुरू करते हैं.
It's an honor to be here because हम सब ने live देखा था चंद्रयान को लैंड होते हुए. आपसे बात करने का भी मौका मिला है. I'm sure this is definitely the best time to start. The moment I came in here is facility में sir, it's a different world altogether. We saw Vikram sir का statue. We have the entire legacy of ISRO right behind us, and it's an honor to talk to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and for talking to us.
Simple question, sir. Can you just give me a brief about your journey at ISRO?
My personal journey.
Yeah.
Of course, it started way back in 1985 when I was a student. I was offered a job in ISRO through a announcement of call for coming in. I got an appointment order even before my passing out of the college, engineering college. That was in pre-semester earlier. So the appointment letter said that if I pass the exam or the final exam, then I can come and join. So we were all waiting for the results to come out, and the next day of the results coming out and the degree certificate available, I joined ISRO.
Okay.
Along with me, many other people joined. So that was a period of our PSLV development happening.
Yes.
PSLV was still on paper, still going to take shape. So the journey of me in the early part was in the PSLV program. It took almost 10 years to convert from the idea of on the paper to the real rocket, which you are seeing today, the PSLV. So I worked for almost 10 years in PSLV project until its first successful mission. That was the second flight of the PSLV. So I was in charge of the integration of various stages, a lot of designs, things like that, and a lot of testing, traveling all across the country, doing a lot of things. Okay, I don't want to go into those nitty-gritty details. But then later, again, I took a break away from PSLV, came back to PSLV once again to handle a different type of job, which was more of commercial satellites launching in PSLV.
Okay.
So enabled that capability into PSLV, and we were successful to do a lot of upgradation of PSLV, bringing it to launch multiple satellites, etc. Meantime, I was given the job to work on the new rocket, the rocket which you are seeing here, the LVM-3. So I became the member secretary of the team to write the project report of it. We worked almost 2 years along with my boss, Mr. Ramakrishnan. And at the end of it, by 2002, we had the project report approved. And I moved to this project of designing this new rocket. So that went through for another 14 years of work, long years of work in various capacities, doing a lot of things from sketching the parts in this to actually realizing, testing, flying, conducting hundreds and hundreds of tests across the country, manufacturing, assembling, etc., engineering. And finally, I became the mission director of this rocket. By the end of its last phase, last 3-4 years, I was the mission director and had the first launch happening under my leadership. Great thing to happen.
Yes.
After that, I moved into various other domains. I became deputy director in various domains within the center. I became sufficiently senior enough to handle many other jobs like mechanisms, pyrotechnics, integration, so propulsion. So with that background, I became the associate director of the center when I worked, where I worked, the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center.
Gee.
Then I moved on to the director of Liquid Propulsion Systems Center, where I worked on the C-25 engine of this, which was not yet proven by that time. So I worked there for almost 4 years to complete many things, including the Chandrayaan engine development program, the C-25 engine development program. I came back to VSSC as its director, again worked there for almost 4 years. Then after that, I moved to become the chairman, ISRO secretary. So that's my career progression. Of course, through this, so many things happened in terms of work. Through this, I would have seen at least 60 launches for PSLV, GSLV, GSLA Mark III in my career.
Yes.
Participated in so many activities, so many responsibilities,
Yes.
administrative, technical, organizational, building facilities. So,
Sir, I think
mentoring people, all of that.
it's safe to say that you had the best college placement.
I don't know whether that, along with me, there were, from my class itself, there were 5 others and many other colleges. So, all of them enjoyed the same privilege.
And it's almost 40 years now.
Almost
85
40.
to, yeah.
Almost 40.
So I was born in 1991, sir. So was it always that you wanted to pursue this field? Because what I can understand is it's definitely no joke. This is the real rocket science. बहुत मुश्किल है. It's a very special domain to get into. While growing up, जब आप 10th में थे या 8th standard में थे, उस time पे how was the mind working and what were you trying to?
I was fascinated by space even when I was a student in schools. I used to be a science, very good at science. I used to be the school topper, even the state topper in science and mathematics in my schools. In fact, in my 10th standard, I was the topper in the state in science, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, along with two of my friends. So, and then I wanted to study electronics. In fact, that was my hobby during my school days. But unfortunately, I couldn't become an electronics engineer. I became a mechanical engineer.
So that's the best thing, I think.
Maybe. Then, of course, during my engineering study, I have a fascination for space and rockets. In fact, I wanted to study propulsion, in which was not offered in my college. So I found some teacher who was willing to take that subject. So we asked him to.
This time around, which year was
that? That was in 1984.
84. Okay.
Yeah. So we studied that as a specialization. 10 of my classmates joined to create that teaching. So it shows that time itself I was interested in propulsion, rockets, etc. Of course, going to Vikrant Sarabhai Space Center was a dream for me because I know that organization as a very prominent place of science and engineering. I didn't want to get into business, marketing, sales, or for that type of engineering job. Yes. I wanted to be a core engineer where I can do something of my own, creating something new. So always I was interested in doing creatively something. So that was a fascination. So when I joined ISRO also, I asked where you want to go. They asked me where you want to work. I said, I want to go where there are things happening place.
There's real work happening.
Yeah, real work. So they put me in the PSL project, which was the happening place at that time. So thanks to their help for me put at the right place, I saw the great mentors. So I must say that I was fascinated by science and exploration, planetary systems, space, etc. in my childhood. Used to be very good in science, quizzer and things like that.
Yes.
So all of this.
So, as अभी आपने बताया, all throughout the journey, I can safely assume कि आपको बहुत सारे medals मिले होंगे, multiple gold medals and all across till now. But I believe so the biggest medal we have is right here. 23rd of August, no one can forget this date, sir. How was your feeling? हम सब टीवी के सामने थे. Almost, it was the highest ever viewership on YouTube for any live stream.
Yeah, it was one of the highest.
And it's not about the number of streams, it's about कि हर screen के सामने there are 10, 15, 20 people, watching in a group.
Like a T20 match, no?
Sir, better than a T20 match, to be honest. The way it was, happening, we can see the numbers coming down, the tilts happening, the rough maneuvers, the fine maneuvers, everything. Sir, आपके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा था? What was the thought? Yeah, how was that feeling?
See, I must admit you that I'm really fortunate. I was thinking like that. I was telling thanks to whoever made me to sit at that moment in that chair as a chairman of ISRO. It's a destiny to be there when the right thing happened. So it's not a work of me alone. I must say that it's a work of a generational set of people, leadership prior to me. The engineers who worked on it for hundreds of hours, sometimes years together. It's a result of a large team effort. The Chandrayaan program itself was a long drawn program in which Chandrayaan-1, Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 were involved. Of course, my contribution specifically, of course, is the last phase of that mission where the certain decisions had to be taken to make this mission succeed, which I played my role. But of course, much of the engineering work has been done already by that time. So I'm really fortunate to see the success happening at this moment and also orchestrate that success to happen. It has a lot of deep learning that is supposed to take place. And I made sure that whatever we need to do for that landing to happen is already done. This was my job as a chair of this organization to make sure that the errors which we had earlier in Chandrayaan-2 don't happen.
It's a fail-safe
And
mission.
of course, all those discussions were happening earlier, but the completion, its sufficiency, adequacy, the care, the true verification, all have been done to give confidence to all of us. It's not me alone. We take all people along. We have a large community of reviewers, including internally, externally. All of them were taken to confidence before we did that. So I was relaxed at this moment. I know it's going to happen. Because all doubts were settled much before that. Possibly all of you were very anxious for that 20 minutes. I was not, because I knew prior to 20 minutes itself, it's going to land. So there was no doubt about it.
That's the most savage answer. I think it's a sign of a topper, that all the hard work, all the preparation is already done.
Done.
The night before the test is just for a deep sleep.
Precisely, yeah. We do always like that. See, if you have any doubt, I think we should not venture into it. But even after doing all of this, still there can be mistake, there can be errors, there can be failures, which you have to explain later. But we can only say within our minds, we have done what is needed.
So recently, I have clearly noticed, the entire nation has noticed, our Prime Minister is kind of directly involved in a way that he acts as a mentor, as a that support that you want to have. This time around he was in South Africa, came live, you were doing a video conference and you said the line, India is on the moon.
Yeah.
So how big of an impact is it?
See, it has made huge impact. You must realize that the last attempt to land was towards the last phase we could not do. Of course, that is heavily hanging on us. I think you must realize that the pressure on success is very, very high. Expectations are very high. And we didn't want to hide the whole thing from the nation. We wanted to be very transparent to the nation. We made sure that we tell the truth to the people. Yes, we had a problem last time. We had such and such anomaly, which had such and such issues, and we have overcome this through such a measure. So everything is in front of the public. And we are live telecasting it. No?
Yes.
So when you do that, it is natural for our Honorable Prime Minister to be part of our journey. He shows his confidence.
Yes.
If he is not confident, he will not take it that his decision to come on board and then see that on live. I believe that our confidence has definitely been transmitted to him in whatever way we can, and he was with us. I think we must thank Honorable Prime Minister for the confidence he has shown us. He could have doubted us. So I must say, thank you so much for that honor that you have given me. It is more than congratulations after successful landing. It is prior to that he has given you the confidence. I think for that I have great salutations. Yeah, belief, yes.
So, just a curiosity. The Indian National Committee for Space Research started 1962. 15th of August 1969, we had ISRO.
Yes.
Just for a comparison, although there is no comparison, but in Pakistan, Suparco started 1961, a year before India started the space research program. Today, there's no match, there's no comparison at all. What's the special sauce that you believe, okay, in India, we definitely have tons of talent. We are emotionally driven. It's a national service that I can say. But altogether, what makes ISRO special?
I believe it has to do with the legacy of leadership. It's very important for any organization from the early phase of the organization formation to certain maturity level you attain, you need to have great leaders. We were very fortunate to have been served by leaders like Sarabhai, Bhabha in the early part, later by Satish Dhawan. I think these three names are very important. And they set the culture of the organization. The culture of the organization was not a pyramidal structure. It was more of a flat organization. and we are a civilian organization. These two things are very important. Civilian means that our space program is driven for serving Indians for their societal and social needs, administrative need, governance. The narrative that we were used to give at that time in ISRO was more of social solutions that need to be addressed through the space. And Sarabhai himself made it very, very clear. And he even talked about not to showcase it as an exploration, going to moon, Mars, etc., not the priority at that point in time. So that made certain cultural definition about it. Second is it was like a structure that we created internally. It was scientific and technological structure. It was not a bureaucratic structure, a flat organization. When I meant we created a culture here where there is an openness for everything. Whoever wants to do something, he is allowed to do. Who can question my seniors? Even when I joined a youngster, I had the freedom to question my seniors. If I am not happy with it, I can stand up and ask a question in a forum. Who are you? That will never be heard.
Okay.
You will be asked to answer. So it creates a place for you to learn, improve, and those who come in get inspired. So if you are able to create an organization which is an inspirational organization, you don't have to give them anything more than that. No, it will create by itself. So I believe the leadership that came, I think many names, if you would have read it across the history of ISRO, there are hundreds of people who were inspirational leaders. Some of them you wouldn't have even read about it, but I know personally many of them. My boss, immediate boss Ramakrishna, you wouldn't have read a book about him. But I know how inspirational he was to me, to mentor me to this level. You would have seen about Dr. Radhakrishnan, the chairman, who mentored me at the last phase. So each of us take a responsibility to mentor at least 10 of my people. So I do that for my downstream people. I mentor them, I help them to grow to different layers of leadership. And this keeps them on a high spirit.
Yes.
You don't have to give anything beyond that point.
So I think it's providing the right playground.
Of course, the infrastructure, technology, knowledge, etc. are important. But more than that, for an organization like this, it is an inspiration element which is important. You must feel happy of doing things. Every day morning you get up from your bed and see, I want to go to office. It becomes a priority for you.
You are charged.
You are charged.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Sir,
and if it becomes a burden for you, you will not do anything useful.
I know. Sir, आपने inspiration जो word use किया है ना, I think right now India is inspiring everyone globally. In a like layman's term, if I were to ask you, we finally made it. We are the first country to reach the south region of moon. How big is it as a positioning globally, if I ask you? Because एक आम आदमी अगर पूछता है तो हम चांद पे पहुँचे, बहुत अच्छा काम हुआ, बट उसका कितना बड़ा सिग्निफिकेंस है इन द ग्लोबल स्पेस डोमेन से?
फॉर आम आदमी को तो बढ़िया अचीवमेंट है. सी गोइंग टू मून, लैंडिंग देयर, बीइंग द फोर्थ नेशन इन द वर्ल्ड टू डू सो, इट्स ग्रेट थिंग, नो डाउट अबाउट इट for a common person. But then you can always ask a question. This has been accomplished by US many years back, 40 years back, they did it. And you are only repeating it. So technologically, is it superior accomplishment? Question can be raised. It's a valid question. Russians did it many times. So technologically, of course, I don't think that it is something that was unsurmountable by the scale of it. But even for them today to land, there is still a challenge. Let us not forget about the fact that it was also evidenced by the fact that Luna 25 had a crash landing just prior to us. So that means going to moon and landing continues to remain as a huge challenge technologically, even though it was accomplished 40 years back. So that remains in the background. So technologically, algorithmically, technology is one part of it. Planning, doing is yet another part. It's a thought process that takes you to there. It's not the computers or electronics that take you there.
You just press a button and...
it doesn't happen like that. It happens by the proper thinking process, proper algorithm development, proper planning, engineering, and also algorithmic. I must use that word only. So that brilliance is there in our system. That is evidence to the people outside. Now Indians can do it.
Yeah.
See, there are people in India who are competent enough to imagine and do it. It is not a small thing. So, though electronics, engineering, propulsion, technology, material science, etc., are only ancillary elements that will make it.
Yes.
But if you do not have the manpower, the people who can dream about it, plan about it, the way to go there, all of these are secondary issues.
Sir, I think I should add Indians can do it, and Indians can do it efficiently.
That of course has been proven many times by the cost efficiency, the overall expenditure that we are managing, the type of investment that we have created all around are one of the lowest in any compared to anybody.
So again, what's the reason behind? Like for example, if you talk about Chandrayaan-3, it's around 600 crores. The Mars orbiter mission was around 450 crores. If you compare the annual budgets of, let's say, ISRO to a NASA is a multifold,
It is typically maybe
20,
25 times or even 30
billion
times.
dollars. In ISRO, we have 1 to 1.5 billion, let's say.
Yeah.
So why are, they are not able to do it?
No, it's not proper to say they are inefficient. I think you should not use such a comparison. See, each nation is driven by their own cost matrices.
Yes.
Everything, the food there will be differently rated. Their life culture and the costs are related. Okay, so naturally anything that they do will be costing according to their standards of costing. Here we live very, our lifestyles are moderate here. Let us understand. For an engineer of ISRO, you get certain amount of salary, there are certain amount of perks, our technician gets certain amount of perks and benefits. A corresponding technician in US will get a different set of perks and benefits. The industry overheads in US will be of different class. But if you look at the cost of materials, it will not be much different. Okay, whether it is US or India. More than that, we play another techniques by which we are actually cost beneficial. We make sure that our development costs are lower, not the actual unit cost. The development costs are kept lower by having a very, very frugal planning. Or we tell everybody that we have no luxury here. See, whatever money that you are spending must be spent in a very careful manner in terms of the models that you make, reuse of models. As an engineer, I remember that when I was working in the rocket, every hardware I made, though it is meant for one particular test, I will make sure it is used for 10 more tests. I make sure that I can repair a little bit and reuse for another test so that I can save on hardware.
How can you better optimize everything?
Yeah, so every piece is used. If it is not usable, I'll cut it off, some piece I add and then still use for something else. So we have been trained to do cost optimization, minimize hardwares, find out the ways by which I can do it in the least cost manner. I don't give it to contractors who will quote very high. I will hard negotiate. And if I can do it in-house, I will do in-house. I don't even give it to anybody who will giving it at double the cost. So we have created a mechanism by which we do most of the work internally, using our own manpower. Software writing, manufacturing planning, engineering designs, drawing, everything we do internally.
Closing all the leakages.
So money doesn't go unnecessarily. And I can also tell you the corruption or any misuse, these levels are abysmally small. So it's in a governmental setup, it is not a small thing. So we make sure that all this add to the cost advantage that we are having.
2019 was the time Chandrayaan-2 was not able to land, and just in a short span of 4 years, in between COVID also came in. So how did we turn from Chandrayaan-2 to Chandrayaan-3? And I mean, if I just ask that, how much of a man force is behind the development? I mean, how is the entire setup in place?
See, there are so many things. In the last 4 years, I will separate out in different time scales. For example, after the Chandrayaan-3 2019 problem, then we had to sit almost a year to understand how it went wrong. So series of reviews, simulations has to be done for first 1 year. At the end, we have a certain understanding. Then we look at for the next 1 year, what all we can do now. We plan what all to be strengthened, where all additional changes have to happen. All this went through. I was also part of the review, though I was not secretary chairman at that time. Dr. Shivan was the chairman. And that time, I was doing certain aspect of this work of different thing. I was part of the responsible for the rocket LVM-3, and I was also looking at the system engineering of the Chandrayaan-3 craft as the chairman of that committee who looked at it, how to modify it to handle this. And most of the recommendations to modify it were reviewed, debated, and we added additional redundancy, etc. So that planning went for 1 year. So 2 years over. Then next 2 years is making it, then testing it to an extent that we never ever did before. Hundreds of tests in so many platforms, and all tests gave some input or the other. on the vulnerability of it.
Yes.
And when the vulnerability is revealed, then we have to strengthen it.
Huh.
So that went on for next 2 years.
Multiple tests.
Multiple tests. Then by the end of it, that we had the flight hardware. That's what we meant. So it was a very painful effort for the entire team of at least, I must say, thousands of people, not one or two. That you may not see all of them here, but they are spread across different centers on various elements. Some of them had no change. They had to be repeated. But many others had changes and improvements which need to be validated.
सर टीम से मुझे याद आता है द प्राइम मिनिस्टर हैज ऑलवेज हेल्ड द नारी शक्ति.
Yes.
हमने मूवी देखी द मिशन मंगल, उसमें इट वाज क्लियरली शोन व्हेनेवर वी सी द वीडियोस ऑफ इसरो, व्हेनेवर सी द लीडरशिप, इट्स क्वाइट एविडेंट दैट इट इज़ द पावर ऑफ नारी शक्ति, द वे थिंग्स आर रनिंग इन. What's your take on this? I mean, what's the message, you know, that you as a chairman of ISRO you'd want to give to all the young engineers, you know, the girls in the college who want to go into this field? मतलब आपकी तरफ से क्या कहना है सर?
See, I have seen girls, young ladies, women working in ISRO has been doing fantastic job, really terrific, especially in the technology domain area. You think that they are not, you may imagine that they are not that good, but then it is not so. I found they have a certain ability to concentrate much better than men. Maybe I must say in certain area.
So it makes sense.
Not in every area. I won't say men inferior to in any manner.
But women are better multitaskers.
They are better in some area.
Yes.
For example, very careful software development, software auditing, software quality checking, simulation test data running, analysis of test data, and then make some inference out of it. Conducting test which is looking like boring thing, hours and hours of testing and executing commands and doing it on a routine basis, you will get fed up.
They won't lose focus.
They will not lose focus. They will sit on it and do it.
Yeah.
And they also have great communication skills and leadership skills. This is yet another point that people don't immediately accept. They are better networkers than gents. I have seen that if you given the task, they know how to get it done through so many people. And many people who have come to leadership positions in among ladies have shown great talent of, you know, making people together. And at senior level, the people flock around women stronger than men. This is again another good. So I look forward to great leadership to come out of women in ISRO. And in our strength, we have been recruiting reasonably well. At least 25% of scientists, engineers are women in ISRO. So it has been low earlier. So that's why you don't see many at the top in the recent times. But I'm sure that middle level, their percentage is very high. Yes. So in the coming days, they will be occupying much senior level strata leadership positions. There are many project directors in women here, including the Aditya L1 project director and many and Chandrayaan-3 project director was another lady, and many other project directors of satellites were there. But unfortunately, rocket side still I am yet to see a lady project director. I am sure it will come in the coming days.
Sir, I'll quickly touch upon the naming of the points that we had. Tiranga point for Chandrayaan-2 and Shiv Shakti for Chandrayaan-3. The moment Prime Minister announced these names and उसके बाद में मैं आपका एक इंटरव्यू सुन रहा था, तो you said that names are very unique and they are Indianized. Sir, how significant do you think these names? I mean, let's say Shiv Shakti point, Tiranga point. Okay, it's a point on the moon. It's very significant. Globally, as we talk about the Indian culture, the Indian heritage, क्या उसकी significance है sir?
While telling about Chandrayaan-3, he said the Shiva Shakti point is an embodiment of Shiva and Shakti, which is man and woman, and Nari Shakti. Yeah. He also connected that to the Himalayas and the southernmost sea. Yeah. It also covers the entire length and breadth of India. It represented in that manner. It also reflects the yin and yang, I believe, you know, those type of concepts. So he chose a phrase which is of embodiment of power, you know, energy, etc. So, and that name is more of oriented towards the Indian way of naming anything. So it appeared in his narrative very clearly why he has chosen it. Yeah. Among so many other names that would have come in front of him. I think it is his prerogative. It is not me to say you are not right. Okay, he is the Prime Minister. He has the right to choose it. That's what I said. Now coming to Tiranga is again yet another name which may appear to be very neutral. But Tiranga is a name that we are given to our tricolor. Is it not? And it is a very First time I am hearing the name of a flag of a nation as a single word. Tiranga. We don't,
Yes.
is it not? It's not called the Indian national flag.
Yes.
Tiranga is Indian national flag.
Yes.
So it is a very unique Hindi word which actually describes that our identity. So what best you can give for Chandrayaan-2 is one of the appropriate word. It is very much Indian and very much connected to our origin of India.
Yes.
Yeah.
So आगे बढ़ते हुए अभी चंद्रयान 3 तो I mean tomorrow is the time when wakes up from sleep and we'll see the
Yes.
upcoming updates. सर आदित्य L1 लॉन्च हो चुका है. कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है सर? बिकॉज एज अ क्यूरियोसिटी आई एम आस्किंग. Sun is 150 million kilometers away. Aditya L1 is reaching the L1 point, which is approximately 1.5 million
1.5 million.
1.5 million kilometers. So वहाँ पे जाके what all I mean is it really important sir कि हम जो काम from the surface of the earth हम नहीं कर सकते हैं, हम वहाँ से better कर पाएंगे?
Yeah, there are many reasons. If you want to do measurement around Earth, suppose the satellite happens to go around Earth.
Yeah.
And you can still see sun. There is no issue. It will see sun the way it will see sun at 1.5 million kilometers away. It can just see the sun because after all it is 150 million kilometers. You are making another 500,000, 1 million kilometer. But the real difference is this, that you are able to see continuously for 24 hours a day without any break, any eclipse. You are able to look at sun.
Okay.
Every second you can look at sun, and there is no other point better than Lagrangian point.
Okay.
Second point is that Earth has a magnetic field,
Yes.
and whatever particles that are coming from sun will be affected by the magnetic field of Earth.
The interference.
And that will give a different picture whichever location you are measuring. If you are very close to the pole, you will give a different picture. If you go to the equator, you get a different picture. But once you go far away, sufficiently far away to a 1.5 million kilometers away, you are away from the magnetic influence of Earth and you are in the free space. So you are actually knowing the real particle trajectory that is coming from sun to Earth. And after some more travel only, it is going to be deflected, changing its directions and going around to Earth, etc. So you need to be sufficiently away from Earth. But you cannot go closer to sun.
Yes.
Because the Lagrangian advantage is it can look at sun 24 hours a day. It can also look at Earth 24 hours a day.
Okay.
So that means there is only a unique point which it moves together with the sun-moon system,
In sync.
sun-Earth system. So you can maintain communication. So the data can come to Earth, to our ground station without an issue, and it will pick the data from sun as well. So this is the significance. We have 7 instruments on board. One is a coronagraph, which looks at the sun and close its disk and see only the coronal effects. And there are 6 other instruments which actually measures the particle, the light, the soft X-rays, the hard X-rays, the magnetic field, etc. So this is a set of measurements which is a measurement suite. And this is possible only from such locations. It is not possible in an orbit around Earth.
So it's going to take approximately more than 120 days to reach.
Yes.
To save cost again? Or was there a faster way, but it would have been expensive?
It would have been expensive. It is similar to Chandrayaan-3. Because of the launcher capability is limited, we have to do this multiple burns around Earth, progressively increase the speed and reach it up to
I
this.
think it's a smart way, sir.
It is smart, yes.
I mean,
No doubt about it.
Why not do it?
Yeah, of course. With the available capability, we want to do the best payload to that orbit.
So, we all hear Elon Musk saying that eventually Mars is where we'll go. What's your take as someone who's definitely expert in the space thing, and how practical do you think it would be? Is it really possible? या अगर होगा तो 50 साल बाद होगा या कब हो सकता है? I mean, what's your thought on this?
So it's not Elon Musk who started dreaming about going to Mars and colonizing. At least 30, 40 years back itself, books are written about it. There is a book written, I don't remember the author, on how to terraform Mars and convert to a habitable planet. And one day human beings can go there and settle. You need about 100 years. If you implant bacteria and other living systems on board, they will convert the Martian earth and soil and atmosphere to a living conditions. The temperature can be controlled, the atmosphere can become denser with oxygen. The same way Earth got converted from a carbon dioxide rich atmosphere to an oxygen rich atmosphere. Same process can be done on Mars. And this has been well written, scientific research books have been there. In fact, Professor Rao spoke about it one day. I happened to listen to his lecture, maybe in 1990s.
Okay.
He was speaking about it. So Elon Musk simply I believe that he took that idea of Mars. It's a very interesting idea. Why he took up Mars as a potential candidate for future exploration and colonization has to do with his business mind. I think let us not forget about it. He created a rocket called the SpaceX, and he created business around it by creating large number of launches, cost reduction, and he also looked at how we can intercontinental travel can happen, frequent flights to Mars can happen. He was trying to create a market around the rocket that he created.
Yeah.
His brilliance must be appreciated. But looking back, the feasibility of going to Mars and creating, it is going to take time. Though he may be talking in another 10 years that he is going to send lakhs of people, could be difficult, because it all depends on the ability of human beings to spend that much of money over a period of time and sustain such a program. He may see the real challenges when it comes, but I am hopeful that though it is not 10 years, it will be 20 years, 30 years or 50 years later, human beings are going to go.
Okay.
There is no doubt about it. It's a question of our readiness to do that. Our ability to bring down cost to such a lower level that going to Mars and staying there is manageable within the resources of any nation. See, it is already becoming very low cost. That's why last year we had 3,500 satellites launched.
Yes.
It used to be 300 2 years back. All on a sudden we have 3,500 satellites launched. Now per kilogram launch cost has come down at least 1/10.
Okay.
And over the years, I believe space travel will become commercialized. It will become more frequent. Human beings will start traveling to Moon and Mars much more frequently. Space tourism will come up, and going to Mars and settling a colony could be a possibility.
Okay.
So it's a question of time, and also growth of certain amount of technology, and that also technology growth, material science growth, communication, electronics growth, etc. has to happen together. And ability of nations to spare money for activities other than their day-to-day survival.
Yeah.
Then only these things will happen.
Makes sense.
And reasonable wealth of the nation should grow. I believe this will happen in next 40-50 years.
So, sir, and space tourism, abhi pehle hi, like it will pick up?
Yes, no doubt about it. It's already there, space tourism.
Yeah.
There are at least hundreds of people who are willing to pay that fat check for at least for a few seconds or few minutes of visit to space. There are people. So that means it's there now. Yeah.
Sir, मेरे को मार्स एंड मून पे colonization से याद आया. अभी there are a few websites online claiming to sell the land on the moon.
It's not possible. See, the celestial objects doesn't belong to anybody. By the United Nations peaceful use of outer space, the entire space, including Moon, Mars, etc., is for the humanity. Nobody can apportion it for any nation and sell it.
They just give a certificate, sir, saying that
I can also give a certificate to you. Will you take it?
I would love to take it, sir.
I'm not going to give any foolish thing like that. And if somebody fall to such...
I mean, paying $25 for 5 acres of plot or something.
Take it. Keep it with you. I am becoming rich and you are becoming fooled. That's all.
So, speaking of space tourism, speaking of, as humans going to space, I would like to touch upon the Gaganyaan.
Yeah.
I think that's the next big thing that we have. So, what's the plan? And again, how significant do you think it's going to be in a way that, again, पहले भी हो चुका है? As we spoke about Chandrayaan, कि in the past
पहले भी हो चुका है, अमेरिका, रशिया, सब.
Yes.
Please.
So, what's your, what makes Gaganyaan special for India? Is it the showcase of our talent or our technology that yes, we are also capable of doing it, or something else?
See, human spaceflight plan was not be a priority for ISRO since up to this point, but it became priority at some point in time. We have to understand the timing. Gaganyaan became important at the moment when we have certain amount of capability. And that capability enabled us to talk about it. That is the significance. And when you have this capability, and if you do not venture in it, it's a crime for the future. I think let us not forget about it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Why India should become human space capable nation? This question is what it comes. See, is it enough that when people go to Moon, Mars and colonize, it contains only people from only some certain nations? You don't want to be part of it?
Why not?
Why not?
Yes.
You don't deserve to be there, or you want to remain a third world country that you will talk about somebody going there and settling.
You want to be the first
and talk about their stories, and you don't want to be part of it? I'll ask you a question like when we go to Antarctica regularly. Why we should go to Antarctica? We realize that going to Antarctica is so crucial for India. As Antarctica being as a domain where everybody has their own rights,
Yes.
we also went there. And it was a very wise step of going there, because today we have a station there which is very important strategically for us to satellite communication
Only a
purpose.
select few countries have their stations.
Only
in
select few countries could go. Everybody could not go.
Yeah.
Tomorrow moon is so important that unless you go to moon, establish your station, you keep there, your future technological growth will not happen. That is understood today. It is important that you create outer stations for India in moon, maybe tomorrow in Mars. It is important. So if you have to do all of this, one of the capability that we need to have is the human spaceflight capability. Unless human beings go out there, you cannot do much of the activities. For example, creating a station on moon requires human beings to go there.
Yeah.
You can say that robots can do, but robots have their own limitations. Much of the work can be done by robots, but there are certain aspects which you cannot be done by other than human beings. Though ChatGPT comes, still you need somebody to write a very good article. Huh?
Yeah.
Otherwise, articles can be written by ChatGPT.
Sir, I think, I mean, in the vision of the PM that we have, that India being a developed nation by 2047.
Yeah.
So all this is kind of a part of that.
I believe it will become, and this it is envisioned by Prime Minister Modi very well. I think he has his dream and vision. He may unveil his vision in the days to come, I believe, because he is talking about to us also in the Amrit Kaal 2047. We must do something significant.
Yeah.
We already presented certain aspects to him. It is up to him to mull over it, talk over it, and come out his own vision. I think he will do that. I believe that he will connect the dots, which connects, in my opinion, connecting the human space flight, the ability to go to moon, ability to do launch cost at substantial low cost, ability of India to do scientific explorations, contributing to the global understanding. All this should merge together for us to become a powerful spacefaring nation, to be reckoned as in the top, not as a follower, somebody who is doing to do unique things in the future. Why we should not be?
Sir, I think India is a preferred nation right now for many countries to launch their satellites, considering how efficient we are.
See, the
and how
launching of commercial launching of satellites in any country is driven by many other parameters other than cost alone. It's geopolitical. Let us understand. Because the USA will not come easily to launch a satellite in India, because there are enough of commercial companies there. They will argue it against it, and they won't allow them to bring the satellite in Indian launch. So you won't get that easily. Large number of US satellites to be launched in India. Look at Europe. Europe has their own launch vehicle plans. Its Arianespace is the European consortium of building rockets and launching. So all their satellites from Europe nations will get launched there. China won't launch anything other than from China. So when you look at launching satellites for commercial purpose, for whom you are launching, then or the rest of the world, which includes Africa, the Latin America, the Southeast Asia, the Australia. I think there are hundreds of countries again. So you have to capture markets from these nations, which are only budding spacefaring nations. They are not the developed spacefaring nations.
they don't have their own setups.
So what India should do is, India should create a market for launches for satellites of these nations, so that there is a good market for them to come to India and launch. And this is what we are trying to do: create a market for small satellite launch platforms, quick access to space launches, cost-effective, competitive, so that India can become a preferred destination.
So I think, sir, opening this in a private sector is definitely helpful. Like multiple space startups coming in, and if it's just the government organization, taking control, I think it's better that कि private होने के बाद में और चीजें और opportunities open हो जाएंगी.
Definitely, the private opening up of the space sector, private players coming in is really a welcome step, and a lot of new things are happening. I think you would have watched that launch vehicle development companies have already started doing some good small launches, sounding rockets, and they may scale up to their satellite launches soon. I am also seeing at least 2-3 companies have started building their satellites, already built and launched, and many application-driven companies have come up in hundreds of them now, slowly coming up, and at least tens of them are showing very promise in terms of growing up to very well rich companies who having a good market share. It's a great thing to happen. But the real point which I want to say is the economy of space activity is not limited to rocket, satellite or some applications. It is in the downstream segment. 70 to 80% of the business is in ground stream. In terms of the ground equipment manufacturing, service providing in communication, telecommunication and navigation and timing services, Earth remote sensing data services and value addition. We want more people to work there. Some of the companies who are coming like Satsure, Vasundhara, they have gone shown exceedingly good success they have demonstrated. We are looking at downstream side to grow substantially, which will actually drive the upstream side.
It's just a loop.
You cannot do it the other way. You cannot have too many rockets, too many satellites and expect downstream to happen. It will not happen. So our focus should be to bring up the downstream, the business side of the space in a bigger manner. Don't depend on the outside players, depend on the Indian startups and companies to do this work. And second point I want to say is bigger companies in India who are the multi-billion-dollar companies who are operating in India, they should invest in space. And through that, I think we will have more R&D happening in private sector in space.
So I think that's the reason that we are estimating that the space industry, which is right now roughly at 8 billion in India, is going to go to 16.
Something like that.
And the money is coming in for sure.
Money, there is plenty in India. There is no shortage of money here. The issue here is the business possibility. With that money, you should be able to generate revenue. So if the space has to generate revenue, there must be markets. So it is simply not technology. Technology we already have. But if it has to generate revenue, you must have markets to whom you are serving. Unless markets are created, business is not created, the rockets building will not take place.
So start from down.
So you have to create that first.
So I think with each passing year, what I've learned, as a nation, we are trying to be as Atmanirbhar as possible. It clearly shows, the way ISRO is, moving on. मुझे उसी से याद आता है Navic, for example. By now, it was all GPS, but it's for the first time, all the new iPhones, they have the Navic chip in the iPhone 15s and many more phones before the iPhone as well. Again, it is just to be the one that, we also have our own navigation system, just to be on that list of select few, they have their own systems.
It's not like that. See, Navic came with a very clear view. That it is meant for our strategic use. And GPS is a public PNT service, which has two elements. It has its own strategic element, which is available only to US, and the civilian segment available to everybody. But the available to everybody is only available to you. And you are using available to everybody for a strategic purpose. Then you are not doing it right.
It's not meant for that.
It is not meant for that. The civilian side of GPS is meant for civilian applications.
Has its own limitations.
How can you use it for our fighter aircraft navigation? How can you use it for your military purpose? You cannot use. And if you are using it, it's actually a mistake. So for a nation to use it for your strategic purpose, you must have your own strategic assets. You cannot depend on somebody else. And this understanding came to us, and we made Navic purely for the purpose of serving our defense forces. And it is so going to be in the future. But here again, Navic has two elements. One is strategic signal. It also has a civilian signal. Okay, the strategic signal will be used by the strategic people, and the civilian signal will be used by iPhones, Apples, and things like that. And that is going to be available. And we are telling that the civilian signal of the Navic is much more accurate than the civilian signal of the GPS, because our satellites are stationary.
The constellation is focused
on... It's a constellation, it's a fixed constellation.
Focused on the Indian region.
So in the Indian region, it will give you much better accuracy than GPS. So better use it. So we are telling users, but we were having a lacuna in the earlier Navic system. Our frequencies were only in S band and L5 band. L1 band, which is now newly introduced, was not there. So it was, the penetration to civilian segment was affected because of that. Now that issue we have identified, and we are solving it by introducing L1 and L2 bands. That means that every normal device can have Navic operating within them, along with other signals like GPS, GLONASS or BeiDou, all of them.
So I think going forward, we'll see more and more smartphones.
More and more smartphones.
Navic in India.
It will be.
So just a flat question. Do you believe in aliens?
Why should I believe? No, there is no need to believe or disbelieve. I can only ask you a question: are there aliens or not?
So are there aliens?
There is no question of believing.
Are there aliens or not?
I will say yes. Because what do you say alien? Alien is a life form which is different from yours. That's what you call alien now. See, they may be brilliant like you. They may be like ants, not having brilliance like. Even an ants in another planet is also an alien for you.
So any life form which is...
Any life form, a bacteria in some other another planet, an exosolar planet, could be an alien for you. So I will tell like this. My argument is that there is always aliens or other life form present in the universe, because Earth cannot be by an only one place where the life originated. It's simply not possible.
Maybe we are too lucky, sir.
No, it's not the question of luck. Is not that. It's a question of our ability to know. See, Earth is such a, you know what is Earth? Earth is a planet around Sun in a Milky Way galaxy, which is Sun is just one of the minute star of the entire galaxy where billions of stars are there. It's an insignificant star, Sun, and around that there is an insignificant planet called Earth, and there you are claiming yourself to be a very significant fellow, and you think that you are the only one here. But just imagine, in this Milky Way galaxy itself, there are billions of stars, and most of the stars got planetary system, and many of the planets can have life. And we know today at least 5,000 such planets have been found out in Milky Way galaxy itself. And there could be many more lakhs of them, because our ability to detect them is still not grown to a level. You understand, our telescopes came only 100 years back, man.
Yes.
See, our ability to send a signal along our microwave came only just 100 years back. We are just becha today. So in another 400, 500 years later, we may have much better capability to communicate, to know. At that time, we may come to know about it. Only provided they are as brilliant as you, intelligent as you, they are developed to a level. Suppose they are 200 years behind you in terms of their technological growth, you will never know about them.
Yes.
They will suppose they are going to take another 1,000 years to communicate with you. You will never know about them. It doesn't mean that they are not there. I am very sure about they are there.
Next time someone asks me, I am going to say yes.
Yeah, you must say yes.
Yes.
Because that is a first requirement for you to search for it.
Yes.
If you believe there is nobody else, you will be very complacent.
Makes sense.
It is because Amerigo Vespucci or Magellan or Columbus know that there are lands that you should explore and find out. They went out and found out America, no? If they believe that there is no land, they will be happy being in England and Europe, no?
Unless someone from the other side comes in.
So let us believe, let us at least consider that there could be planets like Earth, and there are definitely, that we know today by our observation. And many of them have potential to remain maybe much more habitable than this. Maybe life is thriving, but you also realize that the signals go at the speed of light. And the closest planet to Earth is at a distance which is much longer than our life term. If a signal you send here, it reaches there after you are born.
Many light years.
Many light years. So the next star is 4 light years away. Then the very next star is 25 light years away. And the one is 100 light years away. And you expect them to communicate with you? It's not possible. So they will thrive there, we will thrive here. But you may find out some technology solutions to communicate across such vast distances. At that time, we will know.
Sir, अभी मैं जब आपको सुन रहा हूँ ना, I see a complete scientific explanation.
Yeah.
And that's how science is, because at the same time, when I see a spiritual side of you, it's again in public. How do you balance between these two?
There is no need of balancing, because both are complementary. I always believed that the scientific exploration is an exploration of my outer self, because as a student of engineering science, I try to find out the explanation for any physical thing, how things move, why gravity works, like how equations of motions are there, how energy and other things are connected. It's a scientific way of looking at it. But you can also look at it in a different manner, how energy manifests in itself. What exactly is it? See, those who try to understand the microcosm in greater detail always wondered how it actually is manifesting. See, if you look at the whole of the universe, you will only wonder. You do not understand the boundary of the universe. You do not understand how the structure of the universe, even till not explained in the larger scheme of things. It's also not explained in the smaller scheme of things. If you look at the atom, the molecules, the binding force between the strong nuclear force, the weak nuclear forces, there are theories and theories and theories which goes into the minute particles, and they finally end up in string theory. Even then, you can have a lot of questions about the dimensionality of the space, the 13 dimensions that actually make, the 11 dimensions that make the universe, the shrinking of the dimensions, the visibility of those 4 dimensions to us. All these are very complex mathematical problems. Only mathematician can explain. But for a clear mind, it becomes Maya again. No? Those who think about it realize that all these material findings are nothing but the manifested energy. I think this is also well understood. So it is important to have this connection between this
The
thought
inner
process.
self
While we treat everything physical, it's important to treat them as spiritual entities. I consider every material a spiritual entity. The you as a human being as a spiritual entity, the material that makes you as a human entity, the tree, the inanimate and animate objects are
Just
spiritual
model
entities.
anything, yeah.
It's all spiritual entities because the energy and the vibration in this body is tremendous. Just go into it and then realize it. The electrons are moving at fantastic speed inside. What is driving all of this?
Yeah.
And all of them ultimately only electrons, protons, neutrons, but takes different shapes and forms and
Different
manifest
colors,
in front of us in
different
so many ways.
properties.
What is the magic really? If you really look at the magic of converting electron protons to elements, the compounds, the taste, the color, the texture, the crystals,
Yeah.
all this comes out in beautiful ways, no? It's such a magic. The whole universe is magic.
Sir, I think this conversation is going all magical. I'll just sum it up, sir. Just a couple more things because I think we touched upon almost everything, whatever is possible in this short span of time. Just before closing it, sir, I'll give you an insight. The Chandrayaan-3 Maha quiz, which still running right now, just a short span of time. The Prime Minister kind of, called for the entries. We all spoke about it all across. More than 1.3 million people, mostly students, they have participated in this quiz. And I think, sir, it's just in the recent few years that we have seen that everyone's interested in what is happening at ISRO. क्या नया लॉन्च हो रहा है अब और आगे क्या होने वाला है the live updates. If you see the Twitter handle of ISRO, the number of retweets or the number of likes all across, it's very dominant. काफ़ी students इस time पे जो हैं, everyone wants to be in this, setup and wants to contribute something. What's your message? या फिर what's the easiest way in your recommendation to 12-year-old watching you right now?
It's a curiosity element is something that attracts people. We have to maintain that interest all the time. For example, the Chandrayaan-3, we try to maintain so much openness, but also there is a controlled openness. No? It creates it's like a movie,
Yes.
If you tell everything, then it's all gone.
Sir, I'll tell you honestly, around those days जब land होने वाला था, the Vikram lander, I used to manually refresh the Twitter handle just to see कि अभी कुछ नया आया है क्या, any new update coming in. Yeah, that's
So I was personally working with my team to make sure that you give the right type of inputs, and the inputs have to be right. It should be sufficient enough to raise the curiosity for wanting more.
Yeah.
I think all these are important. So first and foremost, the young generation are different. Okay, the way type of the information they want are very instantaneous information they want. They want to connect with the whole system. Their personal views they want to express. There must be a place, not simply read and go away. They want to tell something.
Yeah.
You must give a room for it. That's why the Twitter is very popular.
Yes.
Of course, websites are popular. They give more details and data. Those who are interested to understand and not to speak much about it. I am very happy with that information. There are different layers of people. We must satisfy all such different thirst
Yes.
of information.
Yes.
So that we handle this time very well. Some for the Facebook people, some for the Twitter, some for the website, and where there must be a seamless, not repeat, connect between of different natures. So this is very important. Pictures speak more than words, so we would like to articulate the whole thing through pictures, either graphics or some photographs.
I saw the 3D picture of the Vikram lander recently posted with the 3D glasses.
Yeah,
looks fascinating.
Correct.
To be honest,
So pictures are very important. It speaks more volumes. See, ultimately, it is the interest that you have to create in the minds of the people, young people, who may not know details about it. But if you can inspire some people, students from villages, some countrysides, to understand that India is doing it, give some hope for future.
Sir, I think everyone's coming along.
Yeah, I think we are the engines for hope. I think that we realize it very well.
Yeah. So, what's your message, sir? If you have to give any advice or any tip, or if someone wants to pursue this field, I know it's a difficult one. क्या बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल होगा?
Absolutely, it's not difficult at all. I think tell you a very secret.
Okay.
space technology is not at all a difficult technology. If you believe that space technology is a very difficult technology, I am lying. Okay, but it has its own, like any other domain, it has its own intricacies.
Okay.
Once you are into it, you know it. So I can tell you only, for anybody who wants to get into space, come with a passion. Don't take it as a job. If you take it as a job that I will spend some 5 years here and jump and then go into some other domain and do something else, you are mistaken. You will become nobody.
Yeah.
See, it requires years of hard work to become an expert in some domain. Each one of us are reasonably high level of expertise in domains which you cannot tell. It took 10, 20 years to become somebody who can stand up and speak about it.
I can only imagine starting in 1985 and
it takes time. Because the deeper the understanding, the more correct that you are able to do. And it's a collection of such people that makes it happen. Novices cannot do this. Of course, novices can do it, but they will face their misery later.
Passion is required. Skills will follow.
Skills will follow. And see, all those people who are working in ISRO came from ordinary background. They are from the second tier institutions, engineering colleges, diplomas and technicians who came from such institutions are the collection of ISRO. But they are able to do great work. It is because through our connection, through our working together, all of them have elevated themselves through their knowledge, their skill, and they are able to do it. And individually they are very weak people. No, individually they cannot do beyond a point.
Collective forces.
But it is true. A gap of mine will be filled by somebody else.
Yes.
And this is and we as manager, as leaders, we find out where are the gaps, where are the weakness. We put people who will fill up that. So through the connecting the chain appropriately, not to make any weak links, we get things done.
So it was great talking to you. I mean, thanks a lot for your time. I know we had a long session and मेरा मन कर रहा है कि मैं बातें और करता रहूं.
करते रहेंगे.
But I think some other time when we have the Aditya L1 reaching the point, or maybe when the Gaganyaan is all successful. So great meeting you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all the insightful information. I'm sure all the viewers, they'll have something or the other as a takeaway from this video. Be it passion, be it something else, but the magic stays. चलिए शुरू करते हैं. थैंक यू सर.
थैंक यू सो मच.
दोस्तों, उम्मीद करते हैं इसरो ऐसे ही आगे बढ़ता रहे और नई नई ऊंचाइयों को छूता रहे. फिलहाल वीडियो में इतना ही. जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम.